What basic, children's age-level fact did you only find out embarrassingly later in life? I lived in a desert most of my life. No snow. Before my recent experience, I had spent maybe a total of 5 days of my life in snow, and the snow I was in was incredibly light. Because of this, I always pictured snow as eternally white and ethereal, like in all the cartoons I'd watched as a kid. Went to spend time with my partner's family back in the Midwest in early February. I was absolutely enchanted on my first day of the 2-week stint. Then I watched what happened as the snow stayed around. And I got to see black ice and the nasty gray/brown snow blocks on the side of the road. I suppose I should have known snow got dirty and tracked over and nasty, but I didn't. Robbed the childhood wonder and whimsy right from under my nose. I was baking a cake in my dorm for my 19th birthday. My friends were running around and being loud, so I yelled at them to stop because I didn't want them to ruin the cake. They looked at me like I had 2 heads, so I had to explain that my siblings and I were always taught that making loud noises or running around a kitchen when something was baking would make it fall. I was surprised they had never learned that baking rule. Yeah, turns out that was made up to stop kids from running and being loud for a couple hours when baking was being done. I called my mom up to ask her about it, and both she and my grandma were just as shocked as I was to find out it's a myth, so apparently at least 3 generations have believed and followed that rule. If it's only leavened with beaten eggs and no baking powder, banging around really can make it fall. One day I had a light bulb moment. Pickling is a process. You can pickle anything. So what are pickles? I was gonna blow so many minds with this question. Turns out, it's cucumbers. And everyone on the planet knew that, except me. One of the unanswered questions of the universe is why cucumbers are special. You have pickled eggs, pickled herring, pickled pig's feet, but when you pickle cucumbers you get pickles, not pickled cucumbers. Why? My great-grandfather had half a pinky on his left hand and always said it was because he liked to use it to sop up leftover pancake syrup and had worn it down to a nub. This made sense to me because I'd seen him do that plenty of times. I was so embarrassed to be in college before I realized that was ridiculous and finally asked him what really happened. In reality, he and my uncle had been working in their blacksmith shop, and my uncle accidentally brought a sledgehammer down on his pinky. He didn't want to traumatize me with the truth as a kid, but by the time I asked, I was more than old enough to handle it. Rolling on the floor laughing. When I asked my granddad why he was bald, he said he stood up too fast out of a helicopter when he was in the RAF, and it all blew off. When I was 4 or 5, my mother brought me home a balloon one day. Plain blue balloon with helium. I accidentally let it go and it flew away. Being little, I was devastated. Later that night she comes back from somewhere and tells me she was at the gas station and miraculously, my balloon just came floating by. Being a kid, I was thrilled and totally believed it. So fast forward 20+ years. I'm on a date and we stop to get gas and we see a balloon floating by the gas station. Probably hadn't thought of that story again in all that time. So I start telling my date the story about how I had a balloon fly away and then my mother found the very same balloon at a gas station, and then as I'm saying it out loud I realize, too late to not look like an idiot, that of course it wasn't the same freaking balloon. I've never seen someone laugh so hard. My mom told us that my dad was going in to set the hamsters free outside. And he said, yeah, at the dump, and she threw something at him. I was telling that story to someone much later when I realized they had died. I was typing it just now when I realized he just threw them in the garbage, and the image I have of him driving to the dump to throw them away is a half-updated image from childhood of him freeing them. The last part is just from not thinking about it. I thought until the age of about 21 that when companies had S next to their name, it was estimated that companies were started around that time. It was only when I voiced my disgust profoundly to my then partner that it was ridiculous that no one knew when these companies were formed, and why were they all estimated. She just stared at me blankly for a moment and just went. Established? Penny dropped real hard. I'm from Pennsylvania. When they do the nightly lottery drawings on TV, they always add a reminder at the end, benefits older Pennsylvanians every day. So, naturally, I just assumed that a lot of elderly people won the lottery. When I was a teen I made a joke to my dad about him turning 50 and having a better shot at winning the lottery, and he looked at me like I was nuts. Turns out that, benefits older Pennsylvanians every day, means that the lottery is a fundraiser for senior services, and here I was thinking that it meant Grandma was winning millions on her scratch-offs. Similarly, I often hear about donating your car or boat to a charity who helps adults with intellectual disabilities. I truly thought they were giving the cars and boats to the actual people. My cousin's name. Growing up, we'd always called her Tori, always that and nothing else. A couple years ago, well into my 20s, she's visiting and we go to a restaurant. Our waitress comes up and says, "Hi there, my name's Victoria and I'll be taking care of you." My cousin says, "Oh neat, that's my name too." I was surprised by that cause my dumbass never put together that Tori was short for Victoria. When I was a kid, I answered the phone when my Aunt Chris was expecting a call, then hung up when the person on the line asked for Christina. I don't know why, but I grew up thinking my Aunt Chris's full name was Christopher.